John Lewis Needham is the manager of public sector content partnerships for Google Inc. I know I shouldn't do this, but I feel I have a responsibility to my family and friends to ask whether you were at the Google wedding this weekend.
I had to be here, so I...
Okay, very good. Thank you. Mr. Needham, thanks for being here. We're all great admirers and users of Google. Look forward to your testimony now.
Thank you. Chairman Lieberman, Ranking Member Collins, and members of the committee, it's a great pleasure to be with you this morning to discuss Google's role in making government more accessible to citizens. My name is John Lewis Needham. I am the manager of public sector content partnerships at Google. In this capacity, I lead the company's efforts to build public-private partnerships with government agencies in the U.S. and internationally. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Making government information more accessible doesn't just help citizens find the content they need. It also enables the government to provide services more efficiently to taxpayers and makes our democracy more transparent, accountable, and relevant. This committee has a long tradition of promoting these values, which Google shares. For example, Google Maps and Google Earth, which rely in part on government-provided geospatial data, can be used by the government to better serve its citizens. To offer two illustrations, the U.S. Geological Survey recently used Google Maps to show real-time data on earthquakes all around the world. And the National Park Service is using Google Earth to inform citizens about recreation opportunities across the country. This morning, I'll focus my testimony on how people throughout our nation are using the power of web search engines to find and interact with their government. First, I'll share some trends in how Americans connect with government online. Second, I'll identify the challenges that citizens face in trying to find government information services on the Internet. Third, I'll explain a technology known as the Sitemap protocol, which enables government agencies to make their content more accessible to search engine users. And finally, I'll highlight a few of our successful partnerships with government and outline steps that agencies can take to make their websites more accessible. Let me start by describing how citizens today are connecting with government information online. According to recent research by the Pew Internet and American Life Project, at least 77% of U.S. Internet users go online to find some form of government information. We also see that Internet users are choosing search engines like Google as their preferred way to connect with the government. To clarify, search engines work by sending a software program to crawl the pages on public websites, adding this information to our index. As a result, when a Google user types a query into the search box, we very quickly access that index to return relevant search results. Here's an example. The National Institutes of Health's website, nih.gov, offers a rich collection of public health and medical information from the 27 institutes and centers that comprise NIH. Let's say that you're trying to find out the status of a study on avian flu. You may not be aware of one relevant NIH service, which is located at clinicaltrials.gov, or how to get directly to the page that lists all current avian flu-related studies. So you start your search on google.com. This is a likely scenario, given that very few Internet users go directly to the nih.gov website. In fact, according to our analysis of Internet traffic to NIH websites during July 2006, only 4% of visitors arrived at nih.gov web pages through typing the address nih.gov directly into their browser. This example is consistent with research by Google and others on the flow of Internet traffic, which indicates that as many as 4 out of 5 Internet users in the U.S. reach government websites by using Google and similar search engines. But if the information on a particular government website is not part of a search engine's index, citizens are bound to miss out on that information. Search engines have been connecting to online government resources, have made connecting to online government resources easier, but challenges remain. Specifically, we have found that many government agencies structure their websites in ways that prevent search engines from including their information in search results, often inadvertently. The most common barrier is a search form for a database that asks users to input several fields of information to find what they're looking for. Our crawlers cannot effectively follow the links to reach behind the search form. Let me offer an illustration. A citizen may be interested in locating the Environmental Protection Agency's enforcement actions regarding a particular company. So that user conducts a search on google.com with the company's name and the keywords EPA enforcement. There we are. The results of this search for EPA enforcement and a company name would include relevant information, obviously, but would not include information from the EPA's Enforcement and Compliance History Online database, which offers a list of enforcement reports for specific companies. This is because the information in this database, again, this EPA Enforcement and Compliance History Online database, cannot be included in a search engine's index. Now, EPA.gov is certainly not the only government website that search engines have difficulty indexing. In fact, we estimate that the information in all or part of 2,000 federal government websites is not included in search engine results. Now, with all that said, the good news is that there's a simple technical solution to address this problem. In 2005, Google introduced a standard called the Sitemap protocol that helps ensure the accessibility of information on a website. It allows a website owner to produce a list or map of all web pages on the site and systematically communicate this information to search engines. When a federal agency places a sitemap on its website, search engines can readily identify the location of all pages on the site, including database records lying behind a search form. Using this sitemap, search engines are more likely to index and make visible to citizens the information on the agency's website. The Sitemap protocol has been widely embraced by the search engine industry, including Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, Ask.com, and others. What this means is that by implementing sitemaps, a government agency can ensure that it is serving the American people, no matter which search engine they are using. Implementing the Sitemap protocol is free and easy. It does not require site redesign, the purchase of new technology, or more than a few hours or days of a webmaster's time. Implementation involves creating a list of web pages in an acceptable format and adding the file that contains this list to a website. Google provides a variety of tools to accomplish this task, and we present them to public sector web managers at google.com/public sector. It's important to note today that I'm only talking about information that is already public. Content that is maintained on internal websites, including personally identifiable and classified information, should not be made accessible through any search engine and is not the type of information we're working to index. We believe that it would be technically simple for federal government agencies to produce a sitemap for the information on their websites, and that doing so would bring significant benefits. And we know that implementing the protocol is easy to do because we've worked with many government partners at all levels to take this step. For example, the Department of Energy's Office of Scientific and Technology Information operates a large database that makes research and development findings available to the public. OSDI developed a sitemap for its energy citations and information bridge services in just 12 hours, opening 2.3 million bibliographic records and full-text documents to crawling by search engines. After its implementation of sitemaps, OSDI saw a dramatic increase in traffic to its services as more citizens discovered these resources. Other federal agencies that have recently embraced sitemaps include the Government Accountability Office, which used the standard to make a database of 30 years of GAO reports visible to search engine users, the Library of Congress, which has made its American memory collections easier to find, the National Archives and Records Administration, which is now in the process of sitemapping the federal government's largest public database, and GovBenefits.gov, referenced by Administrator Evans, which now makes its profiles of over 1,000 benefit programs just one search away. And then OPM, referenced by you, Mr. Chairman, which is also taking the step of making its job postings more accessible to search engine users. At the state and local level, we've launched partnerships with the states of Arizona, California, Florida, Michigan, Utah, Virginia, and with the District of Columbia. These partnerships are making it easier for residents to uncover job postings, reports on school performance, and the professional license records of contractors. The private sector long ago recognized the increasing importance of web search, but unfortunately the federal government lags behind. Last month, this committee took an important step in elevating the profile of these efforts by voting in favor of the E-Government Reauthorization Act of 2007. The Act directs OMB to create guidance and best practices for federal agencies to make their websites more accessible to external search engine crawlers. It also requires federal agencies to ensure their compliance and directs OMB to report annually to Congress on agencies' progress. We commend Chairman Lieberman, Ranking Member Collins, and the committee members for their leadership on this issue, and we look forward to working with you to enact this important legislation. Mr. Chairman, while my remarks today have focused on websites and search engines, it's clear that in the years ahead, government agencies will need to make information in other formats more accessible. In the Web 2.0 world, where more and more citizens are using blogs, wikis, online mapping, video sharing services, and social networking sites to communicate and collaborate with each other, there will be even more demand for government to bring information to citizens through these new platforms. We at Google are excited by the promise of this trend, and we're committed to continuing to better connect government to citizens. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions.